I'm super excited because I get to have a chat with you. And when I met you, I think we got along like a house on fire.
Yep.
We met at Amusement 360.
Hmm.
And when we met, I remember you and I just kind of gravitated to one another because we're CMOs, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
And we were from outside the industry. Unlike many of the people that had surrounded us, some of them were just born into the industry. Some people had been in it since like their, early 20s or what have you. And you had worked at some really incredible brands. So I'm so excited to be talking to you today. And,
Yeah.
everybody, we're getting ready for International Women's Day and Women's History Month, which is in March. And because of that, we're continuing on with our series of talking to some incredible, iconic trailblazing women, and Nikki is no exception. Okay, she is in fact, I was just telling you this, Nikki. Nikki is the CMO of A&A Global, and she joined about a year ago. And she is another example of how you're seeing a lot of gender parity happening in these leadership roles in which women are taking the helm and key positions. In companies and within the industry. And so, Nikki, let's just dive in. Because I
Let's
mean, we could
go.
be here all day having a chat, but tell me that. And at some point, we'd be mixing drinks. So tell me something.
Yes.
Okay, tell me about the companies that you came from before coming into the business of fun.
Sure. Yeah. It came from companies like Under Armour, Accenture, largest digital agency in the world, Havas, Exelon, Azoo. And so I've spent a lot of time in B2B and B2C, and everything has become about the D2C experience. And so when I joined Toy and Candy, which I had not come from, it
Mhm.
was in my mind, I thought, okay, here are the new nouns that I'm selling and marketing. And it turns out um, behind every FEC or business or operator I met is another massive, amazing human story, And so when I think about how I've branded or marketed over the years, it's human stories, like what's the emotional connection? How are we creating meaning for someone to either work with us, or how are we supporting our customers? And so I've just been wowed by the human stories that we learn about, especially from the FEC world.
Right, it's pretty amazing the B to B to C element of this, and how I think this morning someone was saying that I think it's Holly from Baytech. She was saying, we can't, we shouldn't forget that we are in the business, not only in the business of fun, but that we're actually creating joy for the end
Hmm.
consumer. And if you
Yeah.
just take it another layer, just
Mm.
one more layer, if an individual is equal to the sum of their experiences, every
Yeah.
single time they do like it's an afternoon with their family or with friends or what have you, all of these come together, they're pieced together like a piece of a puzzle, a narrative, a story that then
Hmm.
becomes the story of their life. And
Hmm.
so it is actually quite meaningful, the work that we're doing, and I'd like to think that we're working for the greater good, even if, Nikki, you and I are doing the devil's work, right? Because we're in
Yeah.
marketing.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. No, I agree with you. I think we get to look. Yes, we're in marketing, but our job is to make things simple, right? So we get to have conversations that are not complex. This industry is about creating amazing experiences. You said it. It's about creating joy. And if we lose sight of that, it's a big miss for everyone, right? Because like we're in the business of like families coming through the door every single day because they want to create a moment for their family that they're not going to forget. I remember those moments growing up, right? And
Yeah.
so when you step back
Yes.
into these, you can see their stories coming to life. It reminds you of your own, right?
Oh, absolutely. And it's, Nikki, what's fascinating is when I came into the industry actually in 2019, and I was architecting the marketing function and strategy, and I was saying, we're in the business of fun. There were so many that were saying, you can't talk about fun. No. Right. And I'm thinking, what do you mean? This is like at the end of the day, and I love how the juxtaposition is, hey, we take fun seriously. And you
Hmm.
can. Okay, and so
Hmm.
with that, my dear,
Hmm.
today, okay,
Yes.
thank you so much
Yeah.
for telling me about where you came from, and because I knew you and I, like, obviously, we bonded over the fact that we're new to the industry, and some of the big brands that we came from, and the fact that we love marketing rigor, and strategy and vision behind it, and the digital side of it, and marketing technology stacks. I mean, we could nerd out all day, but
All
anyway.
day.
let's go to some of these power questions that we have for you
Yeah.
and kind of getting to know you and celebrating you. And listen, this whole series is about lighting up the women in this industry. Okay, so don't you be shy.
Okay, let's do it. Let's do it.
Okay. What are some of your observations as someone who comes from outside the industry, from brands that are just iconic, everybody knows them, et cetera, et cetera? What's one great lesson that you've learned in the FEC industry as you come into it, and working with kind of family run and family owned businesses?
Yeah, yeah. Lots of lessons. Lots of lessons. It's been a year of lessons. I think the focus for me has been what are the challenges for operators? So that's the question we keep trying to solve. I think when you're in marketing, you're solving problems, right? You're constantly trying to solve for that end customer, your current customer. So operators aren't just making financial decisions, right? They're carrying legacy for themselves, for their families, for other families. They're supporting employees and teams. They're creating, we talked about this, these experiences that become memories for families. How do you walk in every day and carry that kind of like amazing weight, right? So the changes in how I approach marketing and leadership start with that. And so I think if we can, coming from larger organizations, I think if we can take complex ideas, talking about nerding out in marketing, but making things super clear and frictionless, right? Not about big campaigns, but like frictionless decision making for them.
Hmm.
Reducing the noise. There's so much noise out on social and all these different
It's so
media
true.
channels, right? So like the connection, reducing that noise. We want operators in the FEC space to feel confident about working with us or making any of their decisions, right? Like if there's a level of confidence and clarity that we can give them, I think that's just going to help them do the job that they want to be doing, right? Which is supporting all those families and creating those memories every day.
Absolutely. I think it was Tony Robbins who said that friction is the one obstacle to progress. So removing
Okay.
friction is very astute, my dear.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, so tell me, what is the key to your success? It can be in your career path or it can be in the last year, whatever
Mm.
you would like to share with me.
Well, I think still working on that one. I think forever working on that. I think my path, my journey in business and in life has gotten me where I am just by staying curious and staying human. Um, Early in my career, I'm sure I thought, leadership was about having all the right answers. And over time, I realized, it's really about getting everyone rowing in the same direction,
Mhm.
and helping people understand that their work matters and how they fit into it. So
Right.
when people are truly connected to their work, they're connected to why we're doing what we do. They're connected to purpose, right? I don't have to create purpose. I have to help them feel how their work matters
Yes.
and then how they fit into it, right? So no one's pushed, it just moves forward naturally. So people don't follow big strategy, right? They follow meaning. And so I think creating room for that to feel connected to the why and to the purpose is what I lean into and hope that that leads to success.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Well, I love that you started. I love that you preambled that answer because actually the answer is a very deep and meaningful answer. But I love that you preambled it with, I'm still working on that, the key to my success, which says to me you have a growth mindset, obviously, right? And you're a
Yeah.
life learner, etc.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, we have such a wonderful sisterhood of life learners. I love it. It's
Yeah.
just, I love how organically it's all just kind of come together with Beth, yourself, and Holly, and Tina, and all the Paulas, etc. All right, I'm not going to go down another rabbit hole. Okay,
Okay.
favorite quotes, favorite quotes.
Oh, I've got so many. We're in marketing and branding, right? We're constantly trying to come up with those like sound bites and then looking into the others. There are a couple of leaders that I have always loved, and they've never served me poorly before. So the easy one, the one that helps me in marketing the most, is Simon Sinek. Start with why. I come into an industry who's been doing the same thing for a long time. Why? Right? We did this last year. Well, why? Right? the why tends to lead to, why are we doing this thing for people? And it continuously connects us to the customer, the human, right? The human story. And are we doing the things that are going to drive that action, right? That we want to get out of it. So I think starting with why, with any campaign or any, larger, maybe challenging conversation, or like fun celebratory conversation. Why are we celebrating this moment? Because we worked hard for it. We really went after something. There was a lot of planning that went into it. So
Yeah.
Mr. Sinek always does me well. The other one that I love, and she's I'm sure a fan favorite of yours as well, Sarah, is Brene Brown.
Of course.
I mean, what quote could I steal from her? And the one that has always stuck with me is like, clear is kind, The more clear we are, and all of the work that she's done around vulnerability, but the more clear we are, the more we know ourselves, the more we know what to expect of others, or how to create expectation or not. Clear is kind. And then the personal one that I think my mom tried to instill in me young, and I didn't really understand until recently. But in life, you can do anything. It's just a matter of when. So don't be so consumed with like, I got to do this by 35 and this by 40 and this is going to happen, right? And you're going to do it. It's all going to happen. It's all going to make sense, and so kind of fall in love with like the dots you want to hit, but not so much when. It'll all work out.
Or the sequence. Yeah, exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Right. Because there is no linear path, right? And I think that's Bruce Pfeiffer who put that in, that life is in the transitions. And so,
oh my God.
Okay.
Or Jess Sims in Peloton, right? Like the sexy transition is where it's at. Yeah.
Absolutely. And in fact, Simon Sinek, I used his model of the why, the how, and the what to be the actual foundation of our brand manifesto and our marketing strategy, in which I was able to say, listen, the what and the how will evolve. Okay. But not the why. And it's such a great anchor, isn't it? Don't you find like if that's clear, then everything else just kind of falls into place. If it's not clear, then that's when you'll get that kind of thrash and churn, if you will. I love all your quotes. Those absolutely spoke to me. Now, I know you've been in the industry for about a year. Okay. And I know you said there's a lot of learnings. Let me ask you something. Do you have any observations when it comes to gender parity, just in the short time that you've been in the industry?
Absolutely. I think it's, you can't not notice it, right? So like thinking that it's not noticeable would be one thing. But I think if I think about leadership, how it was originally defined for me growing up in any industry,
right?
It's not just that what leaders look like has changed, but I think leadership itself has evolved, right? So we came from this certain controlled manifesto, all the answers, here you go, and like that's what leaders provide, to more leadership is connection and curiosity and collaboration, and that drives performance, right? It's not just psychological safety, it drives performance. And so I don't think that's a coincidence. I don't think that companies who do perform well embody those things, right? So when leadership is inclusive, right? When it naturally becomes more human, there's more listening, right? There's more long-term thinking. There's more of a willingness to say, I don't know, or I don't know yet, or let's figure that out together. And that doesn't make, leadership softer. It makes it stronger. I mean, have you ever met someone who's empathetic and isn't strong? I've never not met a strong woman. All the women I meet are usually very strong and carry a level of learned empathy, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. I love the way I love the way you describe this. Okay. Because many times people will kind of tiptoe around it, right? Because it's not an us versus them. No, it's not. Parity actually talks about, is about integration and diversity, right? And embracing all types of diversity. But I love the way you described it. And I want to circle back to it because pretending, that this industry is not male led, okay, just actually be really silly. That's number one, right? Because I mean, please, everybody knows that, okay?
Yeah.
It's like coffee. Everybody knows when coffee's brewing, okay? I mean, it's that obvious,
Yep.
and it's not unlike tech, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Period, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I come from technology, so I remember that,
Yep.
okay? And what I love is that you've seen this kind of organic ascension of so many females into key leadership roles. That's number one. Number two, you've seen gender parity metrics improve, which really has, it's gosh, obviously it's something that I'm obviously really passionate about. And so seeing that, and especially when I've met these really talented professionals in this industry that have been in the industry for about, let's say, like a long time, like 30
Mm-hmm.
plus years,
Mm-hmm.
who have been in leadership roles, but actually kind of stand in the back, right? Like they
Mm-hmm.
don't take a seat at the table and they're not leaning in. Okay. And they only
Mm-hmm.
speak when they're spoken to and things like that. I have loved championing those women. I have loved going up to them and being like, you come here,
You are a
come,
key
we're going to
champion,
go.
Sarah. I can attest to that. You are a key champion.
All right. But this is not about me. This is about you.
It's about International Women's
Oh
Month,
my
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
There you go. Women's History Month. Yeah. Okay. So, Nikki, tell me, what's your life
Yeah.
mantra?
Oof. It's changed over time. And I would say I'm gonna honor Michelle Obama. I would say keep it coming. Just like honor what you're becoming, keep it coming, stay grounded, stay curious, but like keep it coming, and like love what that is. Be curious about what you're leaning into. Be clear. I'm gonna stay with that. Lead with your heart. You do not have. You can lead with heart, right? I mean, I played sports for 25 years. I have a hard time not coming to work leading with heart. It's just in my DNA at this point.
Yep.
And I've learned how to figure out my competitive side as, outside of that in a much more healthy way. But
Mm.
the thing that's never left is lead with heart, right? Because if you like what you're doing, you're going to move things forward, and you're going to move things forward for other people, which is more important, especially for women in leadership. When you like what you're doing, you're going to pull more women through that door, or more of anyone through that door.
That's right.
And
That's
the, and
right.
the yeah, right. And so when we're unsure, when I'm unsure, I want to get grounded immediately, and I want to figure out what am I evolving into, because if there's uncertainty in here, I'm either up against some growth, I'm up against boundary, I'm up against something, and I want to get curious about what that is and like what I'm becoming there.
Yeah. And let me ask you this. In
Mm-hmm.
those times of, and I love when I talk to somebody and you have like these multiple mantras because I'm like that too. Okay. I'm
Yep.
not just like, I'm not a
It's like
one-liner.
music,
Okay.
right? It all depends on the mood. Yeah.
Oh, completely. Right. And it's a symphony. Right. Okay. And so on that note, when it comes to challenges, right?
Mm,
Uncertainty, navigating those times of uncertainty and inflection points in our life when get the most growth and whatnot.
mm.
How do you navigate those? And out of
Mm.
curiosity, do you like ever just tap into archetypes like your inner queen, your inner sovereign, or your
Yep.
inner warrior? Like, what do you like to share with us that, please?
Yeah. I laughter cures so much. So like learning how to laugh at ourselves, right? Learning how to
Yes.
laugh things off, learning and seeing and stepping back and being able to observe, and see the human nature in all those things. But I think that the major thing I stopped doing, and again, like I want to perform well. I mean, that I wake up every day wanting to do well by people. And
Mhm.
so I think the hardest thing I had to learn was to stop trying to avoid failure. Like that actually is like the good stuff. Like when we're trying for ourselves, for others, we should be failing, right? We should
Absolutely.
find those areas. And like that, starting to listen to that, you go down like a big journey of like, what are my teachers? And usually the where we fail, or where things are sticky, or where things are hard, are our teachers. And so some of those hardest moments in my career were very clarifying, very self-aware. It's just today I had I was focused on a big project yesterday. I couldn't spend all of my time with my team and I wanted to engage with them, but I kind of had to pull back and focus on something. I had some awareness about that last night and showed up today and had a conversation with each of them and just said, hey, I wasn't fully with you yesterday and I'm sorry for that. I needed to do this thing, but I'm aware and I'm with you today. Right. And I want that confidence to bleed through to them and to their work where they can take moments of needing to focus or not being able to show for everyone and everything, that being okay. And then being able to circle back and, be open to like what's there the next day. So that vulnerability that I've learned is now my strength. And I love looking back and like honoring those failures. Yeah.
Absolutely. And owning it and being able to say, listen, you know what? We failed. And hey, let's celebrate that failure. We endeavored valiantly to try something. We've failed. Yeah. Let's learn from it. Forget assigning a blame. What a waste of time. Instead, it's just like, what's the root causes? We'll invest in what worked, divest what doesn't, and move on. And that way nothing is wasted. I think this is just so cool. Absolutely. And with that, tell me about some of these big life lessons.
The growth might feel uncomfortable, but it's like so wildly juicy and delicious on the other side of that, right? And so know that glorious, beautiful piece of cake is on the other side of this like annoying, terrible thing right now.
Right.
The second one is that the right relationships change everything. And so surround yourself with the right relationships, right? Like leadership starts with your own self-awareness, but so does the relationships that you keep. And the more we know about ourselves, the more we have self-awareness, like the better leaders, the better friends, the better sisters we are to everyone.
Absolutely. And in fact, if you become like the 5 people you spend the most time with, choose wisely, right? Choose wisely, right? Fascinating. Any aha moments you want to share?
Hire for your weaknesses. Like it always adds up. There is no reason to be the smartest person in the room. If you are, you're in the wrong room. And I think when people feel seen and trusted, I think creativity and newness and innovation flow naturally. So create a space where people can feel seen, you can trust one another, and they're going to bring their best thinking to the table.
Absolutely. I will never understand people who hire people that are identical to themselves. At some point, the team implodes, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's just, I love that. Great aha. And then just tell me this on a final note. What do you know for sure?
Nothing, Sarah. No, I think that I think like at the end of the day, we all want to do something that matters for ourselves, for our loved ones. We want to do something that like is important to us. So we got one life, right?
Yep.
So creating meaning, helping people feel and be seen and understood and respected, I think is where like real growth happens. And it's not just about growth, right? Like it's about rest and digest. Sometimes we can't always be in the season of like growing and improving ourselves. So I think like I know that we need to honor our seasons and that people really want to do something that matters and that takes time and experience and we can do that together and in business and in life.
Yeah, and I love that you just said you have to rest and digest sometimes. It can't just be go, go, go all the time. And I learned that very much from Ariana Huffington when she said that, hey, she used to brag about before, 7 a.m. she got more done than most people did by midday until she then collapsed and realized, oh, I haven't slept in years. And we all need to rest. And I love that you referred to it as seasons. Tony Robbins does that too, where he's like, listen, when you're in winter, winter doesn't last forever, right? You're in the middle of the storm. You got the eye of the storm. You just have to navigate that, and go into fall, and then go into spring, and then go into summer where anything's possible. So I'm with you there 100%. See, this is why, like, I'm telling you, this is why every time that, I'm seeing you, I'm like, I want to have what she's having, and we're just going to hang out and we're going to chat. Right,
I
because I could be
know.
here
I'm so
forever. I'm serious. And I love
yeah.
when people whip out all my like favorites, right? Michelle Obama, right? And
Yeah.
then like, and Brene Brown, right? And you
Oh my
pronounced it
goodness.
properly. I'm just like, we're jamming. Anyway, m- listen, Nikki, I just have to tell you something. I think some people come in to the industry and stay, some people come in and they go. I find your presence in our industry, and especially at the helm of marketing for A&A Global, just a big jolt of inspiration, and so refreshing that you had joined our industry. Because here's the thing, before you know it, your fingerprints are going to be all over the industry and the transformation that you're going to drive. And so I thank you, my dear. I thank you for the gift of your example. I thank you for the gift of your time, the gift of your friendship, collaboration, and all the good stuff.
Mm.
And keep rocking and rolling.
Oh, thanks, sister. Thank you so much. Thank you for the welcome into this industry. It's meant a lot over the past year, so thank you.
Of course, my pleasure. All right, let me stop recording. Hey, you did so well.
Okay, good.
Oh, of course, you did so well.